Right, just so I know. The fourth degree, it's a big fuss. It's really, if you look at the big picture, it's massive. The only thing is, it's happening with smartphones and not the regular phones, because the regular phones don't know what to do with it. But what we are facing now is a platform shift. So we had, in the 60s, we had mainframe, and then mini computers, and a personal computer, desktop internet computing, and now mobile internet computing, right? And so it's a platform shift. It's really huge. And if you believe Morgan Stanley, that's Maya Meekers, that's the woman that found Google and brought it to the stock market, IPO'd it, so she knows what she's talking about. She says, look at the left side, the right side, sorry, mobile internet is going to be bigger than the desktop internet. Only because you have more devices. You're going to have, for the mobile internet, you're going to have 10 billion plus devices, which you only have 1 billion PCs. And the mobile internet is not going to be only on a phone, it's going to be on Kindle, on tablets, it's going to be in the car, it's going to be in home entertainment, and it's going to be in games, etc. So it's much bigger than just a phone. And it's going so fast that people now sort of agree with this statement from that lady from Morgan Stanley, that within 5 years, more users will probably connect to the internet via mobile devices than desktop PCs. Which makes sense. If you are on an iPhone for a year or for a few months, you just do that. It's normal that you won't pick up your PC to check something really quick. You just pick your iPhone, Google it, and then you know. Now, what happened? What happened? Because 2 years ago, the mobile phone, it wasn't a platform, and it didn't go, and people didn't do internet on phones. What happened? Well, Google and Apple, that's what happened. It's a basic story of the incumbents in the industry not moving. Oh, are there any carriers here? Orange, T-Mobile? No? Okay, good. So the incumbents don't do nothing, they do nothing, and then two companies out of the market come in and then mess up the market, right? This is what Apple and Google did. They solved for the people two issues that stopped the mobile web. First was lousy internet browsing. Who has a BlackBerry? You know, good luck browsing the internet, right? It just doesn't work. Okay, so lousy internet browsing, and then two, complex software installation. If you have a normal phone, not a smartphone, and you want to install a piece of software, it's hell. It takes you night and day. It doesn't work, right? For advertisers, the big issue with mobile was try to do a regional campaign, try to do Eastern European campaign. You have to talk to 20 providers with all different standards, etc., etc., and you have to work for 1,000 screens, right? So that's why it never took off. It was way too complex, and people were not browsing anyway. So the iPhone did a really good job, because it's now seen as what the iPhone did to the mobile web, where it's the same thing that Windows 3.0 was for the PC and Netscape for the desktop internet, right? So it's basically huge. And it's funny if you see the numbers. This is, again, a Morgan Stanley sheet. They have a tendency to make really difficult slides, but I'll try to explain. This one, so the yellow thing is the share of HTML mobile pages viewed on a smartphone. In this case, for example, the iPhone. The greens are apps, and the blue thing is the share of shipment, so share of market, right? So what you see is people on an iPhone, although it only has 70% share, they do a lot on the mobile internet. If you take a look here, Symbian, that's Nokia, they have a really huge share, and they are not very particular active on the internet. Android, really smart share, doing a lot, right? So basically, and this is the learning from the industry, the iPhone and the Android phones, they kicked everything off, right? If you have an Android or an iPhone, you You just go on the internet. That's what you do. Because it's so easy. It's so easy, yeah. Sorry, I'm not awake yet. Right. This is information coming from Vodafone. The second line is important, the third line. 40% use the mobile web more than they use PC internet or listen to the radio. PC internet. So if you have an iPhone in the US, 40% of the people that use the mobile web, they use it more than PC internet. Right? So you just do that. It just happens. Of course, for the carriers, this is really bad news because the strategy of the carrier was, let's do walled gardens, right? Let's have a portal, and everybody has to pass via the portal, and then they won't go to the real internet. Well, if you see in 2007, this is the US again. The first with 57% of share was the carrier. That were the portals, right? So in 2007, if people went on the internet, they passed via the portals. Now in 2008, when the iPhone was there, and see, carriers is 22%. Right? So people are finding the internet. That's one thing. So Google and Apple made the mobile web easy and pleasant to view, and they gave us a good browsing experience. The second thing, the second problem being, it's impossible to load software on a phone which is not an iPhone or a BlackBerry or an Android. They gave us the apps. And the apps, well, it's kind of huge for the moment. And the apps are now sort of the default way to get software onto your PC. Who has ever installed an app on his phone? Good. For the people who never did that, it's really very simple. If you have an iPhone, you go to the iTunes store, you go into applications, you see 150,000 apps, and you make your choice. And then you say click, and it gets on your iPhone, right? Really easy. So Apple started this App Store thing, and now everybody is into it. If you take a look at the size, you see Apple is the biggest one because they started, of course, they have the first mover advantage. 150,000, that's end of last year. 150,000 applications, BlackBerry 5,000, Android 20,000, Nokia with its OV store 6,000, and Palm Windows. There's some more. LG has one, Samsung has an app store, etc. So that's one thing. Apple last year, with its under 150,000 apps, was downloaded 2 billion times. Right? So people find it really easy to get a piece of software on their phone. Right. Who's growing the fastest? Sorry. Still aside, okay. Yeah, growth. Okay, so this is new applications per month, December, January this year. So Apple, again, almost 15,000, BlackBerry 500, Android 3,000, Nokia 734. So you see that iPhone and Android are driving this market. But there's a problem with apps, and it's normal. Remember, if we started the internet, if we did the first websites in 95, 96, it was called brochureware. Because what you get from a client was, here's my brochure, put it on the web. Right? If somebody would tell you that now, you would say, yeah, come on man, you're something wrong with you, you never do that. Okay. So what we do here is basically trying something out and see what works and what not. The problem that we see now is apps get downloaded and then never touched again. So if you have an app for 90 days, it's about 1% of all the people who downloaded that app that looks again at it. So most of the apps are just, you download them, you look at them once, and then never again. And then you delete them because your screens are too filled. Of course, games are different and newspapers are different too. But anyway, so this is for free applications.